Two and a three and a you are live. Hey, welcome to the Backyard Professor Live. We made it. I didn't think we would get here tonight, but we are here. I'm at Charley Harrell's wonderful home.
Welcome, Carrie.
And they are so gracious to let me come in. We just finished with Thrive. We've been at Thrive all weekend. Charley and his wonderful wife was able to come to Thrive, and we have just been having a ball. So tonight we're going to talk about being at Thrive and some of the cool stuff that was said and some of the information that was shared. And so let's get this rolled on the show, and we will tell you about Thrive. Oh, turn down the sound so I don't blast your ears out, you guys. See, I'm thinking for you. I'm telling you, I love you guys. Hey, welcome back, you guys. I am thrilled that we're actually able to do a live tonight. Let me get into the comment section. Hey, Dan Vogel, my man, Hi, man. Dan. Mosia, Mark Crispin, good to see you guys. Thanks for showing up. We are going to toast to Thrive Live and to Charley Harrell and the BYP. And the BYP's audience, we have been having a ball at Thrive, haven't we? I'm so glad you guys could come to Thrive. How'd you do that? How'd you pull it off? You're from northern Utah.
Yeah, we couldn't get back up north because the roads were so bad. The weather was so terrible. So we decided to stay down here.
Yeah, I heard about that last big storm. I was fortunate, and I've got video clips. I'll put together I've got all kinds of, you've been watching me all weekend with my stupid camera video and everybody, but I've got video clips of Thrive and some of the different speakers and stuff. I was able to pick up Maven. Yeah, man, and I rode down with Maven. She is a hoot and a holler, and her ankles are healing. She's doing well. I put her little pocket bike in the back of my vehicle, and she never had to use it because I told her, I said, it is chilly down here, by the way. You know, I know southern Utah's the getaway from the winter. Not this week, just the night before, you guys, it snowed here in Utah 2 feet. And so Maven contacted me because she said, BYP, I'm not going to be able to make it. I'm snowed in. And she was. I was shocked when I finally got to her. They had snow like crazy. And but we got on the interstate. I drove in my RAV4 and we made it down. So we've had a good time. I've got a lot of clips. Hey, and for the first time, guess what they had me do, Charley? What? Oh, this is almost so embarrassing because I sucked so bad at it, but we've got it on video. This wonderful former bishop from New Zealand. You remember him? Oh, yeah. I'm trying to think of his name. He had his son with him.
His name is Ganesh.
Yes, Ganesh. He talked me into doing karaoke, man. And so we sang Kenny Rogers, The Gambler.
Really? And that's the first time you've done that?
That is the first time. Oh, and him and his son, they kept hassling me, come on, BYP, let's do some karaoke. I kept giving him the excuse. I said, dude, I don't know the words. It's been too long since I've sung the song.
Yeah.
And it finally dawned on me what I was trying to say to him. And he goes, well, they've got the words on the screen right in front.
No excuses.
And so what can I say? That took away all my objections. So yeah, I actually did a karaoke, man. It was fun though. We actually all three did it together. Oh, and he told me his story or he told me some stories of being a bishop. And we went to
quite a guy.
Yeah, he's a wonderful, and his son is so cool. Don't tell him I said that. He'll probably see this and it'll swell his head, but nice guy, nice people, nice in his 20s, mid 20s. And
he lives in Park City or someplace, I think.
I think he travels between Park City and New Zealand.
The son?
Oh, no, that's right. That's right. Yeah, he's a bartender there.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, and his dad is going back to New Zealand.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're doing well. It's a lot of. What did you think about the crowd, the gathering, the variety?
It was a large room and it was packed. 340 people or something like that.
Yeah, and didn't they say they had only 300 tickets to sell?
Yeah,
something like that. Now, 340 people showed up, standing room only. All three. Well, Friday was a partial. Friday
they were
night.
Different, right?
But Saturday was pretty full day.
Yeah. This morning we sat next to a guy who happened to just stroll in. He was staying there at the hotel and he was curious about what the large gathering was there. He strolled in and he stayed the whole day.
No kidding.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Oh, you should have stood up and told DeLynn that.
Yeah.
That would have been fun. Yeah, we got to meet John DeLynn. I didn't get to spend nearly as much time with him. He's a busy man. He flew in and then he had to fly back out, but spent some time. We both got to spend some time with RFM and Bill Reel a little bit and had a lot of lunches. Oh my gosh, I've never eaten so much. I met some Benny, I can't think of his last name, some young kids in their 20s, Benny and
a lot of young people.
Yeah, there was a lot of young people. And I'll be doing some podcasts, some videos with these guys. He's done some really interesting research on the Hebrew names and words in the book of Ether. Really? And when he just had it on his phone.
Egyptian Reformed, they were Hebrew names.
Okay. Yeah, he's done two different studies on the Egyptian stuff.
Oh, okay.
And then on the Hebrew stuff, his contention is it was really bugging him. He said, I couldn't figure it out. The Hebrew did not exist back when Ether was supposed to exist.
Oh, yeah.
And so he kind of analyzed the etymology of the Hebrew. And his list, he had like 22 or 23 Hebrew names in the book of Ether, that all of them are anachronisms. And several of their meanings don't really match what the Book of Mormon says they're supposed to. And that he was nice enough. Him and his buddies. He had two other friends. One was from New York City, and him and the other guy room together, and they do computer work from home. And he said they bought us pizza. Oh my gosh, you guys! I've got videos of this too. We said, yeah, let's have some pizza. And Anthony Miller.
Oh yeah, Anthony Miller.
And Randy was there.
Randy Bell.
Randy Bell and RFM showed up for a few minutes. And we had several other people. But these young kids, man, he brought a stack of like 9 boxes of pizza, 5 boxes of, they had all the different kinds of breads, the jalapeno.
Wow.
And they absolutely stuffed our gills full of pizza. We had the most fun time, but And it was right there in the lobby of the hotel too. And they didn't
Wow.
yell at us. We just kind of grabbed all the tables and threw them all together.
Wow.
Took chairs from all the other tables. We had a great big party right in the middle, and people walking in and out of the hotel, and we were telling them, "Hey, come and grab a piece of pizza." It was just a hoot. But you know, this crowd is so friendly, but they've been so traumatized.
Yeah.
Did you notice that? They've got some difficult stories.
A lot of trauma, a lot of grief, a lot of anger, and a lot of people that just feel like, let's move on.
Yeah, they're actually
The whole mix.
The whole mix on where you are on the path.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to show you my outfit because today's Sunday, and this morning, RFM was the final speaker. Well, John DeLynn was the final speaker, but RFM was the last of the speakers from the crowd. And I will be speaking next year at Thrive. At least that's what Wayne Hepworth told me.
Great.
We'll see. I don't know if he'll even remember me. Actually, he actually, bless his heart, he actually, when we were at one of the gatherings late at night, we partied till 1 o'clock in the morning. No joke. Bill Real, his boss, his wonderful boss. Yeah. What a guy. Right. What a nice guy. Offered his home for us to get together in. And there was probably 50 of us. I've got video clips of that too. But he came up to me and he asked someone where I was and who I was because he wanted to meet me. And he came up to me, and I was in the middle of talking with people, and I couldn't just break off. You know, we're back in the back by the swimming pool and hot tub. And so he waited patiently for about 15 minutes, and he just shook my hand. He said, "Well, I just wanted to meet you and say hi. I've watched a few of your videos. I like what you do." And he wanted to let me know that he is the organizer, one of the organizers for the Thrive here.
Oh, interesting.
And so I told him, yeah, I'd like to do a little bit more to help Thrive and all. And he goes, yeah, we can put you to work. I said, well, then put me on the speaker list next year.
Yeah. And
he did. And he said, this is amazing. I already have a speaker for next year. I won't have to worry about it. But RFM was speaking. So what I did, you guys, is I bought this crazy looking blue, just beautiful blue, but it's a hood. And it's the wrong color to wear with a tux, but I put my tux on anyway. And then I've got Levi's on, you know. Talk about a crazy mix. And I was hoping to egg RFM on. He never said boo to me about it. Not until after we were eating, and I teased him. But so, yeah.
That's because RFM was wearing his Spider-Man jacket.
Oh, yeah, he was.
And he was so self-conscious about that he didn't.
That had to have cost him a pretty penny. That's a beautiful jacket.
It was gorgeous. Yeah.
And it makes him look tough.
It does.
I mean,
he's an Avenger.
You are in good shape. I am fat and sassy, and RFM looks really good. So my vow this next year is I'm going to start getting in better shape like these guys, because I look horrible. Well, maybe not horrible. I look funny no matter what I do with my hair. Although, I don't know if you heard anyone tell me, but I had 3 or 4 people tell me I look better in real person than on camera.
That was a compliment. That's great.
Oh, crime.
It's better than having them say, oh, you look a lot better on camera.
Oh, you look like hell, dude. Go back home. Probably would have helped, actually. That's right. Oh, it was fun just to meet so many people. You know, Thrive, the idea here is to help people who are in transition. And yeah, we get it. There's people who don't like DeLynn, and there's people out to get him, and they'll say anything at all to bring him down and all, but he's resilient and he's powerful. And he has a good heart. I got the impression that he really does have his intentions and heart right with what's going on with everything that he's doing. Didn't you?
I did. And you see that a lot in his work, but unfortunately, he's doing the kind of things that can come across to some people as threatening, as maybe self-promoting, but I think at heart he's got a good heart.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in a way, you got to kind of be self-promoting.
Look at you.
Yeah. And look at you. You're willing to come on and promote that fabulous book. And Charley and I are going to do more even after tonight. Tonight's kind of the hi, we're done with Thrive, and we're going to tell you a little bit about what we loved about Thrive and all. How big do you think that room was? It was the conference room at the Hilton Garden Inn. So
It was big, like a big ballroom almost.
yeah, they had all those great big chandeliers. And I wonder if I've got
lots of round tables. They had some good mixers where they rotated people from table to table the first night to get people to get to know each other. And there were probably, I would guess, only about maybe 50% of the people, of the attendees, were from the St. George area, were from Southern Utah. I think there were a lot, like yourself, that came from out of town and even out of state to come to the program. My wife and I sat next to this individual that came in from Orange County, drove over, and he just wanted to see. He had been listening to Mormon stories and had been out of Mormonism for about 12 years, I think.
Oh, yeah.
But he started hearing some things on the news and got curious, started listening to Mormon stories, learned about Thrive, and was just anxious to see what was going on. And he just loved it.
Yeah, that's fun. It was a fun event. It was, there was so much energy there. It was just mind-bogglingly silly. I'm trying to find some of the pictures. Maybe I didn't take any pictures. I think I took. There's one of Randy on RFM and Bill Reel and myself. That's Randy Bell. He had his book for sale. I'm going to have him on the program. We're going to talk about his book on how to succeed and thrive from trauma, thriving after trauma. Oh, and there's one with our beloved, delightful blue-haired Maven. We just had a boatload of fun, you guys. It was so much fun. It was ridiculous. I'm trying to, well, here's a good video of the, oh, this is one. Yeah, this is kind of a video of the, oh, now I'm doing the close-up on it. Come on. There we go. There's the size of the room.
Oh, yeah. 3 screens up front.
How long do you think that was?
100
feet anyway, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's quite a ways back.
Easily. Yeah, and that's the marriage on a tightrope, and they're talking, I think. Anyway, it was a huge conference room. I was kind of surprised at how big this place was, and it was packed to the gills.
It was packed, and there was people, like you say, standing in the back. Very well attended. So Gail is asking where it is next year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, thank you. I haven't seen it. I can't see the questions. I've got to get close up, so I'm going to let Charley handle that. Doesn't Thrive do a St. George one each year, though?
Yeah, every year. Actually, I think this was only the second one they've done, but I think they're going to continue to do them. And they've had them, though, in many different places.
Yeah,
so
they're all over.
You can get on. My wife was just looking at it. There's a website that tells where the Thrive conferences are, and they've had them in all over the world. I think they've had a Thrive UK.
Yeah, I know they've had a Thrive somewhere in Europe. My suspicion is Nemo the Mormon is partially responsible for putting that together, because they do have some really good Brit Exmos over there on the other side of the Atlantic that are doing a lot of stuff together. But I know Thrive's been up in Washington. There's been some in Idaho. There will be one in Idaho, Montana, Nevada, California,
Las Vegas, there.
Utah. Yeah. Vegas one would be a fun one. Would anybody attend though, or would we all be gambling? I don't know. I don't gamble because I suck at it and I'd lose all my money. I'd rather go buy good books. So that way I at least get something for my money, but that's just me. So now you actually were able to attend the whole thing with us, weren't you?
This time?
You got there right from the start.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't going to be there. When I heard about the 2-foot snowstorm, I just about canceled out. I even called Maven and said, man, my car isn't going to go through 2 feet of snow. And then overnight, no kidding, man, the kudos to the Utah State Highway Commission, whatever they're called. Those roads were clear all the way down. The only place that I had any kind of difficulty was on the Malad Pass in Idaho. But everybody has trouble on the 4th of July when it's 100 degrees on the Malad Pass. It's always just difficult to traverse. But tonight we're going to be getting a storm, and that's why I'm staying overnight here. So that's why we get to do this wonderful live together. So yeah, I ended up coming down in my all-wheel drive.
That's right.
What's that?
It's UDOT, the Utah Department of Transportation.
Oh, yeah.
That's the roads.
UDOT. Man, they did a fabulous job on I-15. But the traffic here is a lot more than, and that's what I kind of was telling my wife. I said, well, I'm going to try it because the traffic down here is just so much busier. And the roads were fairly dry until we got to Cedar City. And I had heard there was a storm going to blow through St. George where the Thrive was held this year. But the roads here were mildly wet also. That was good. But
yeah. And it cleared up just around the venue. The clouds parted, right?
Just like the red sky from Moses. And now it's going to come all back together to keep the Pharaoh from going home. I'm supposed to get a storm tonight, but I'm not going to travel tonight, so that's all good. So we had quite a few speakers. Let's see, we had Friday night was just kind of a get together, mixing mats and all that, and everybody comes up to you and, hey, BYP, I love your stuff and all. And I do have to say thank you to absolutely everyone who came up to me. I was completely blown away and overwhelmed. Pretty much everybody already knew me, and I did not expect that. So
he was hard to miss, though. With this kind of an outfit, you got to admit.
That's true. It was pretty ding-a-ling. But hey, I mean, if you can't be a little wacky and wild, it is Thrive after all. So it's basically the secular gathering of general conference. So we had there were several groups who, and when I say groups, I mean those who were doing podcasts like Marriage on a Tightrope under Bill Reel's umbrella, the Mormon Discussion Inc. I was there. I didn't talk. I wasn't on the schedule this year, but Marriage on a Tightrope showed up and talked. Yeah, and they're a hoot. They are so cool, aren't they? I had no idea they were that fun.
Very funny.
She's still a full believing Mormon, and he has walked the plank, so to speak. He said no, but they've got a beautiful family. So they're trying to work the ins and outs of how the heck are we going to do this?
That's why they were so funny. They said you have to have a sense of humor to make it work.
And they both did, didn't they?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of got the impression that in order to make something like that work, if you're in that situation, you've got to you have to know to give and take on both sides. And they're very open. Yeah. I was kind of impressed with how well they communicated with their kids and how they let their kids make their own decisions in some regards, of course. But I mean, they tell them both sides. They don't hide one side or the other. They're not hiding the fact that daddy is a faithless apostate. And they had some fun with, joking about the labeling stupidity that the church does to so many people in order to either intimidate him or to browbeat him into keeping going to church, the shame culture, which came out quite a bit, didn't it, in this one?
It did. Yep.
Yeah, the discussion of it was something else. So, but who was another speaker that you liked? I mean, besides RFM.
Yeah.
Everybody
the,
loved
the
it.
Reels, Bill and Amanda.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
you mentioned that they spoke. That was good. Let's see. It was Timothy Johnson. Was that his name? The TikTok.
Oh yeah,
guy.
Yeah. Had his funny TikToks on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, people are just there, kind of sharing their experiences.
Yeah. So a lot of sadness, a lot of emotion, and weeping, and a lot of laughter, and it was.
But not weeping and wailing and gnashing of teeth.
That's right. No gnashing.
There was none of that.
Might have been. I don't know.
It might have been if someone forgot a line. But RFM blew about 5 or 6 of his lines, and that man is so quick mentally that he turned them into jokes, and we were all just rolling on the floor laughing. I mean, he needs to be a stand-up comedian. We all went to lunch afterward, and Bill was telling him, he said, RFM, you seriously, when you go home, you need to learn how to be a stand-up comedian as a side way to make money, because you are flipping hilarious. He just takes an everyday normal life event, tells the story, and then ties it in with a really interesting life lesson.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was pretty good. His philosophical grasp of life is pretty good, I would think.
Yeah.
And then we all had, actually, they didn't have a lot of food served. We more or less just kind of all broke off and went to dinner or lunch or whatever.
Yeah, all the meals were on your own.
Yeah, the meals were on your own. And that's good. That's all good. I mean, Thrive is, they're not, you say this is only the second one, huh? So last year was their very first one.
Mm-hmm. In St. George.
Oh, in St. George.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the one that Bill and RFM made such a big whoop-de-doo to me through this whole last year that I just vowed I've got to get to Thrive. I'm going to try to get there and have some fun. So, and it was worth every effort. It was worth every moment. It was so fun to meet so many people who were so interesting. Everybody there is interesting. And, maybe it was Randy. Randy Bell made no, it was Bill's wife, Amanda, and Randy kind of followed up on it. Amanda told us today at lunch. We had lunch at the, what was it? The Bluebell Fairy Dust Joint. No, it was the Black Bear. The Black Bear.
The Black Bear.
Yeah,
Black
that's
Bear
it. The Black Bear Diner is pretty good here, by the way. If you ever come traveling through, they're all right. Just off the interstate. But yeah, Amanda was saying that she actually asked, she said, did you notice that none of us, no, we sat in, how long was yesterday's full day of basically, they gave us breaks, but how long did we sit there?
It was 10 to 5.
10 to 5. So 7 hours. We had a couple
9:30 if you got there early for the breakfast break.
Yeah. Not one of us was bored. Nobody walked out.
Nobody snoozing.
Nobody sneezing. Nobody sleep. I did you see anybody asleep at all?
No.
I didn't either. That's kind of amazing, you guys. 300 people. Yeah. Granted, I mean, we didn't have sofas and stuff, but the chairs they're not hard, but they're not soft, they're not comfortable. But no kidding, man. We had those big round tables, and we have 10 chairs to a table, in a circle. And they had a lot of bottled water and chips, which of course I stupidly indulged in, and they had some wonderful rolls and all that, and they had all kinds of goodies to snack on, which I liberally partook of because I asked and I received. You know, the scripture's right. It's not my fault, Charlie. James still works. It just worked with me with food. But yeah, 10 per table, and absolutely everyone was either laughing or when something funny was said, or we were absolutely enraptured with what was being said. Oh, and the musical. What did you think of those?
Music was
hella
amazing.
people.
Yeah. They had this group called Take Two, group of students, previously students at BYU Idaho, that formed a group, an a cappella group. And now it was like some 10 years later, they had all fallen away from the church, but they all got back together as a group, and they came down from different California, Washington.
The one guy was from back east. What
performed.
One of the guys and gals got married. Husband and wife.
They're now husband and wife. They just did an amazing job. They did closed with a pentatonics rendition of Imagine that was just wow. Everybody was just so moved.
Standing ovation.
Yeah.
I actually went and asked the lead singer there. I told him, I said, I've recorded most of your songs. Are these copywritten? And he said, actually, they are, Carrie. And I explained why I was asking. I videoed several of them. And I said, well, I'm doing several different interest clips of my experience here at my first Thrive. And so it's not like I'm just trying to just play the song. I'm going to be cutting back and forth to, you know, things in St. George, and because St. George is a beautiful area, and then different parts of the hotel, you know, different people that we talked to. And he said, well, if you used clips, I think it would probably be okay. So you will be able to hear bits and pieces. I'm sure they sell their songs. My gosh, for a cappella, it just blew you away. 5 of them?
Mm-hmm. There were 5. 3 ladies and 2 men.
Yeah.
And they each told their story interspersed with the music. And each one took maybe about, 10 minutes? About what their journey was, how they went to BYU Idaho, and then through different circumstances just were let out of the church.
Don't send your kids to BYU Idaho, man. That's an apostate. That's apostate generating college. Right. It was Rick's when I went, so see, that still counts. So, yeah. Their music was fantastic. Their stories were very touching and moving. All different walks of life. See, that was the other thing that was so interesting, is how so many different experiences we got to experience through the speakers. And their doubts and their difficulties with either family members or spouses or children or church leaders, etc. But it was just so human interest. It was big with human interest.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah. Fantastic weekend. Seriously. Next year, there will be announcements for if you're asking. We'll get to the comments here in a minute and talk to you for a few minutes, but there's no question in my mind, Thrive St. George will happen next year. This year surprised all of us, the organizers, Delin, all of us, with the sheer magnitude of not only the excitement, but just the attendance. Just to give you an indication, every parking spot in the entire complex, all the way around, including all of the handicaps, and they were legitimately handicapped automobiles there. It wasn't people just parking there who weren't handicapped. Every parking spot was taken. Then there was this little dirt section out there. There were like 11 or 12 cars parked in it, where they drove over the curb to get a parking spot to come in and attend. It was really impressive.
Did we tell you there were a lot of people there?
How many, Charlie? It's fascinating that it generated some interest.
340. Yeah.
Generated some interest from those who were just there
Yeah,
for a completely different
many
reason.
tickets, and other people just wandered in off the street almost.
Yeah, try to buy your tickets early when they go on sale. I think they go on. How far in advance? You guys just bought your tickets pretty late, though, didn't you?
We did about a week ago.
Yeah, that's about when I bought mine, and they're only $30. Oh my gosh, you guys, the $30 would be worth it for just one day. Let alone, yeah, you buy your own meals, but you could go to a fancy restaurant if you wanted and eat here. But actually, the food here in St. George wasn't that expensive.
No, it's great food. The restaurants here are amazing.
You guys,
there's some great places. We took this guy out for lunch yesterday, the individual from California, and he just raved about the quality of the food. And it was just a Reuben sandwich, but he said, "This is the best Reuben sandwich I have ever had."
RFM had a Reuben sandwich today, so he must have heard the word.
Yeah. The word got around.
Yeah, they're fantastic. I had a shrimp and chips, not fish and chips. I had shrimp and chips, and they said it was colossal shrimp. Now, in my home state, the colossal shrimp are about like the size of my palm, but they're also about that skinny. They're skinny, but they're big around.
We're not confusing them with scorpions. You don't have scorpions for shrimp.
I hope not, but yeah, they're about that size. These colossal shrimp in the restaurant I ate lunch today, they are that big and 3 times thicker than any shrimp I've ever eaten. I was just, wow. I was blown away. And for $15.99, 6 of them. In Idaho, you get 3 with the chips and then the little deal of coleslaw. And the bowl of coleslaw was larger, and it was fresh. It was delicious. I ate the whole cotton picking lunch, man. It was fantastic. So anyway, I got to meet a lot of wonderful people, old and young. I met a woman who was wearing wonderful red heart glasses, and she came up to me and put her arm around me, and she said, "BYP, I just want you to know you are so cute." She said, "I just so appreciate all your efforts and videos, and I can tell you you're cute because I'm old enough to be your mother." Just people like that, you know.
Was she the one that told you look better in real life than on the screen?
No, that was another. Yeah, that was a different guy. But I'm sure glad he put it that way. Might be a lie, but we'll never know until you see me in live. But just a whole lot of fun, you guys. Really, I would love to meet as many of you here. I actually, this morning, met 2 of my neighbors, both couples. The one lives half a mile from me, and the other one lives a mile further than that. I mean, literally, my neighbors. We had no idea we were neighbors. Here's the funny thing. The couple who lives a half a mile from me, last night, just before karaoke, I went out and got a bottle of water. Bottle of water's free, lots of good water. And I just coming back in to see what was going on. And they were sitting there right next to the door, just listening to the karaoke and watching. And he put his hand out and he said, "Hey, BYP, thank you for, shaking my hand and all." He goes, "This is my wife." And he introduces me to his wife. And she's on her way out. But she's, when you get in that transition, that can be a scary spot. And I know it is scary. Did you go through that fear? Somewhat, or were you a slower? I kind of went slow, but it was still scary, revealing that I'd done it.
It's a little frightening. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say so, depending on where you are and, you know, what your community's like at the time.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, community makes a big difference.
It's kind of tough when
With
you're teaching at BYU,
Yeah, tell us about
going through an experience like that. So I like this comment from Newton suggesting that Ensign Peak should sponsor next year's meeting.
They are talking about doing some Salt Lake thrives.
They have been doing them in Salt Lake.
Yeah.
And so, but that would be a legitimate sponsor.
That would be a great one. Although Ensign Peak, you mean Ensign Peak investors? I don't know. Good luck with that. Although they could pay for the dinners without flinching.
There you go.
Hey, we could all petition the church. Hey, would you mind sponsoring a Thrive for all of us who are transitioning out of your corporation so that we can get on with our lives? Yeah, that'll go over like a lead balloon. Although, if we get the right committee, we might be able to do it. Who knows? So anyway, I was talking to this couple, and so I was explaining to them some of the difficulties of dealing with your family members or just getting over the difficult psychology of it all from what you were taught the real doctrine was by the church, and how you don't dare quite see the whole point of view. Polygamy really bothers some people, but Joseph Smith is still a true prophet. But they're unaware of the Book of Abraham problems, or they haven't read Charley's book. That's the nice thing I loved about your book, is you pretty much cover every single doctrinal situation that's possible or historical that's possible. So it's tough so I'm sitting there talking to them for like an hour and a half. And they're my neighbors. They're within walking distance of my house. We didn't discover that until today. So we had a great laugh.
Couldn't you tell by the accent?
What's that?
By the accent? Wouldn't that have been a dead giveaway?
Accent. Well, let's see. Idaho accent. It could have been. I don't know. Is there that much of a difference between the Utah and Idaho accent? Well, I guess we say y'all a little bit, but that's more southern. That's not Idaho. Idaho is kind of crazy, I don't know. I'll have to think about that. So, what else did we experience that you thought was fun? The Hilton is amazing. It's a great
venue. Yeah.
Great venue. Yeah. Tall ceilings. Oh my goodness. Whew. Huge tall ceilings. How many people do we have here? 299,350. Oh, Gail Capson, you said you were wanting to make it. You probably didn't. It's all good. We'll get you there. We'll get all of you there to Thrive eventually. You want to see what people are saying, Charley? Overall, I would give Thrive a 5-star rating out of a 4-star rating. It was absolutely more than I expected, without question. Sincerely.
They delivered. Yep.
Great way to put it. They delivered. Charley's got that one right. I can't see that far away. My eyes aren't focusing. So I'm still tired.
What have you been drinking, Gary? Let's see.
Diet Coke.
There you go.
Tim Rathbone's here. Mo C is here. Good deal. Dan Bowe's here. Dan Bowe says I have to be drunk. I'll drink of that. Mo C. Kind of. Tequila helps. Oh, no, I'm not going to drink tequila. No, tequila. I'm a lightweight, man. Tequila knocked me for a loop. Someday, maybe for entertainment, I would do that for you, but not tonight. I've got to drive in the morning, so I got to be careful. There's Gail Capson. Oh, Moksha Raver. Thanks, bub. Thanks for showing up. UDOT, what's he say? UDOT is great with their Yeah,
Orange
they're orange trucks. The Sleep 3.
Oh.
Yeah, those plows are the size of houses, man. One drove by me. It was on the other side of the interstate when I was coming down, but I'm not kidding. Those plows almost, if on an angle, they'll go down one lane. But man, if they do them perpendicular to the road, they would cover both lanes. I mean, they have huge snow plows and they take care of their roads. Hey, fine business operator. Good to see you, bub. Gail Capson's here. George Washington, what's that? Hey, Duke?
Yeah, George Washington Hayduke.
It was amazing. It was fun. There was so much energy because, now this is the interesting thing. There was so much energy because it was positive energy. And yet there was some negative experiences that was shared that would just curl your hair. Or does that curl your blood? One or the other. I don't know what the metaphor is.
Curdle your blood? Yeah.
Curdle your body, make your eyeballs roll around. But overall, the support and the love and the advice, Anthony Miller, just, he's famous. He's done TED Talks. And him and I got together and we had a good time. And he just has a phenomenal, I don't want to call it method as such, that'd be the wrong, but on his ideas on deconstruction. What do you think of his talk? It was
good. It was good because
he was the first standing ovation.
Yeah, the whole concept of Thrive is to say, okay, we can analyze and critique the church all we want, but at the end of the day, how are we going to live our lives? And what kind of purpose and meaning have we been able to find for our lives? Is it all just deconstruction, or is there a construction, something constructive to do with our lives? And so that's kind of what Anthony was focusing on, is where do we go next? I mean, what's next after deconstruction?
Yeah. That's well put. He shared a lot of stuff with me. I will be having him on my show, and he will be. I will be going on to his. He's got some great plans in the future for. He gave me the impression he's got an entire program that he can help people in all phases, whether they have family members involved or not, whether they've been in church leadership positions or not. That makes a huge difference with how people not only can react, but do react coming from an authoritative position, as opposed to someone who just converted and 6 years later realizes that it's not what they were looking for, and so they get out. But yeah, there was music, there was song, there was dancing. We had karaoke afterward. I was a karaoke virgin. I had never done karaoke, and they got me to do karaoke, and I've got that. It was fun. You kind of get to let your hair down a little bit and have some fun, and yet there is some really good instruction. Mm-hmm. I thought that was kind of a cool mix.
Yeah,
a lot of clapping, a lot of whistling, a lot of foot stomping of appreciation. We actually, one of the speakers, we were clapping and stomping our foot, and yeah, I mean, it is so well received because this is just not simple. We have a spiritual issue to deal with. We have a psychological issue to deal with. We actually have a physical issue to deal with. Are you going to go to church or not? Right. And that's noticed.
Yeah. And relationships, relational issues.
And relational issues.
Family relationships.
Neighbors. Yeah. Long distance neighbors. Yeah. They seemed to me like they did pretty good in covering all the bases, all of the broad spectrum of potential experiences. And then we actually got to hear what actual experiences are. And I mean, it's not like everything is tragic. It's just that there are some situations that are difficult. Like for that gentleman this morning, you remember that questioner about his children.
Right.
That was fascinating. Did you find that fascinating?
I did. And I think that's an important issue to address, where there was a lot of discussion about how adult members deal with faith crises. But what about their kids? How do they deal with it? How do they deal with their friends who criticize them for maybe not being active in church? So there's a lot of trauma that they have to deal with that they need some guidance.
And they need some friends.
Yeah.
You know, we think it was just so insightful because this young couple has, did he say 4 or 5 kids? 4.
Can't remember. 4.
But
Maybe.
but they were ages 2 to 12. So
Mhm.
I mean they're in grade school, you guys, and they are being persecuted by the Mormon kids because, well, they no longer go to church. Oh, well, their dad doesn't believe anymore. They don't have a priesthood holder in the church, stupid shit like that, and they're attacking the kids. And that's just not something I ever thought of, because my issue isn't with kids. My kids are grown and gone on. So I'm always dealing with the adult stuff, as most of us are. But I thought he brought up some pretty interesting, legitimate points. So there's just all these different angles that you don't think of, and social issues. So anyway, how would you rate it on a scale of 1 to 1,000,000? This gives you plenty of leeway. What do you think? What do you think?
Probably 900,000.
Yeah.
999. Is that?
Yeah, I think so.
It's I guess it's 999,999.
Yeah,
it'd be one short of 1,000,000.
Because you can't,
just because you have to allow for improvement. It's going to be better even next year.
It will do. Yeah. We don't want to do that toxic perfectionism. So we're not going to give you 1,000,000 points, Thrive. We're going to give you 999,999. So yes, you're welcome.
Besides, I learned as a teacher that you have to avoid grade inflation. That's grade inflation.
Yeah.
You
Good
can't
point.
just hand out A's without any, really going the extra mile.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Good point. Yeah.
But so is the toxic perfectionism. So that's the
right.
other side of that coin.
And that was actually brought up more than once. So I mean, that's a real issue that probably a lot of us in this audience and us on this side of the camera have experienced. Because, it is the manner that the church, the leaders, will interpret some of the cherry-picked scriptures. We already know that. So, but to see it in real people's lives as they're standing up there and trying to describe, how do we, it's not something you can just let go of. And, oh, well, yeah, well, I don't want to believe that, let go of it. It doesn't quite work that easy. That one speaker was saying, wake up every day with it, thinking, okay, now I can't sin today. I've got to be perfect. Even after they were out, and you're going, whoa, that's pretty heavy stuff.
A lot of baggage to unload.
There's the word I was looking for. Yeah, you don't just, it's not like my baggage today when I got in my motel room, you can just drop it and move on. So, but the cool thing is there's help in all those areas when we want it. See, this is the power of the internet. The idea is, they say, well, you're going to leave the church, but you're not going to leave the church alone. Where will you go? Where will you go? I've always gotten, tell me what you think. I've always gotten the impression that that's more of a psychological trick question
Oh yeah.
than a legitimate concern
Mhm.
of, oh, well, where are you going to go?
Yeah.
Do you get that impression?
You do. I get that impression. Yeah, that it's more of one almost uttered out of fear than concern. Where are you going to go? You know, you don't leave us.
Oh, that's
We
interesting.
need
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Where are you going to go? We need you. Oh, that's interesting. I never quite looked at it with that angle, but I mean that
Yeah.
that could be. There, I would think there would be. I mean, yeah, I know it's big and powerful, and it's a corporation, but now that you brought that up, I could see where there could be some fear in the church.
Yeah.
Well, didn't the Lynn talk about that?
Exactly. Yeah. That there is concern. They are alarmed at a lot of the stuff that's going on.
And the youth leaving.
Yeah.
How was it that was it Lynn that talked about that?
Mm-hmm.
Who
He was one of them.
Who was it? Was it Holland? Holland. Someone said that they were actually genuinely concerned. Oh, who?
That when
It was Delenn
yeah.
when they would have youth firesides.
Yeah.
They told the parents,
Yeah.
don't come.
Yeah. They're more concerned about addressing the youth than they are the parents now.
That's a shift, you
it
guys.
seems.
That's actually a pretty big seismic shift. I mean, who doesn't remember all the continuing education and what the adult firesides were?
Right.
It was
adults only.
Yeah, it was the Sunday nights where you actually did get the deep doctrine, not in Sunday school.
Mm-hmm.
Come to the fireside tonight and we'll tell you the real meaning of this or that or whatever.
Right.
But they never did give any of us the second anointing at those firesides. Dang it.
Did you ever get to go to those solemn assemblies that were held?
Are you being serious? They hold solemn assemblies?
Oh, yes.
Really?
They did. Back in the 70s.
Like in the steakhouses and stuff?
In the temple, in the assembly room in the temple.
Well, I didn't get my endowments until 79.
Yeah.
Did they keep doing them past that?
I don't recall. I
don't think I've ever been to one. Did you ever go to one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They
So
were for leaders like bishoprics, elders quorum presidencies. They'd have them assemble, and it was effort to give a sense of you're special, you know. We're calling you into this special meeting in this special place.
How interesting. Yeah, now they're doing that with the youth. Mm-hmm. Because the youth, you know what's so remarkable? The church leaders, at least this is my impression, the church leaders seems to think that they can fool the younger generation like they've been fooling, you know, their own age group. They're geriatrics by now. I mean, every blasted one of the apostles in First Presidency is over 116, aren't they? Ooh, that was bad. They're over 75. I don't think I'm exaggerating there. So they're the old generation. So they think they're going to be able to pass a policy, something like whatever it is they pass to the younger youth and do their youth rescues, the rescue the gay people or the youth or whatever. They really think they're going to pull the wool over these kids' eyes. This generation is so vastly superior to the brethren in electronic usage. It's astonishing that they can't figure that out. And I suspect it is biting them in the butt somewhat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the youth, I was obedient to the point where it's like I told them one of the dinners. I said, man, back in the day when I was being raised in the church and all, General Conference would come along. I had to be enthusiastic about listening to N. Eldon Tanner. You guys think you've got it rough? Yeah, look at his reaction. And I had to like it. And he was in the First Presidency, yeah. Charley, right. And he spoke every gosh dang General Conference. He never missed a one. And he was slow and and he would talk for about 35 to 40 minutes, and he would say nothing. Do you think I remember anything that man said? And then even when he got so much older, he couldn't even pronounce his word. And I was supposed to feel the spirit and appreciate that. The younger generation isn't going to do that today.
Yeah.
There's no point to it.
Yeah. And I don't think we're making fun of the men. It's the system that
Correct.
allows this type of
Correct. Yeah.
programming to take place.
Yeah. The system actually,
Romney.
unfortunately, they did put in Eldon and Marion G. Romney.
Oh, yeah.
Too.
Marion G. Romney.
They put them in a bad situation that they really shouldn't have. Well, and in President Benson.
Yeah. And there's
And
no
President
emeritus kind of thing. The whole system of it's the way we've done it. It's this tradition that we can't change because, and it will change, but they say it can't change. But it's just, we're
gonna be forced.
ingrained in this system that is just way antiquated. It's crazy.
It is too. But there are hints that it's going to happen because of you and people like Charley and I and the internet. Dan Vogel, he makes videos. I do podcast presentations. Bill Rill and Radio Free Mormon, John DeLynn, several others, Marriage on a Tightrope, Rameumptum Ruminations, Almost Awakened. There's a lot of podcasts out there that are happening that actually have all kinds of different emphasis. And we're each kind of different, and yet we're not striving for glutting ourselves on filthy riches, because ain't none of us making much on this. That's not the issue at all. The issue is there are people hurting, and that came out really strong in this particular Thrive, because they were sharing their experiences of their pain and how they overcame it. In some instances, though, they still have some.
Yeah.
We didn't hear just nothing but success stories at this Thrive, did we? Yeah, that was interesting. That was kind of an interesting thrust. There's a lot of work to do, and some of the stuff you just never get over.
Yeah. I thought Anthony Miller made a good point when you talked about grief and how over time grief doesn't shrink and get smaller, but it's just our capacity and ability to deal with the grief gets larger if we get the right mentoring, training, and understanding that this grief just continues on. We just learn to deal with it better.
Yeah,
over time.
It's just not going to go away. It doesn't magically disappear. So these are real issues. And the cool thing is Thrive helps us get that. So fun stuff is what we're trying to tell you. Yeah, we're having a see something good said.
Questions.
Questions. Okay.
Oh, wait. Benson's son said his dad was not there during the last few years.
Correct. Yeah, I've talked to Steve directly, and he mentioned that. He said they are so concerned with, unfortunately, making President Benson look coherent that they would almost put toothpicks in his eyes to keep him propped open and do some kind of a neck support and all that. And, that's not even a graceful, dignified way to treat an elderly man like that. And so yeah, there's a beautiful example right there. This type of a culture of perfectionism, this culture, and it's crazy too, because I know they give it lip service. Well, no prophet is infallible, but they don't want you to really think that.
Yeah.
And that's so unfortunate. And I don't think I'm exaggerating. They really don't want you to think that. They want you to inwardly think these guys are equivalent to God. When they talk, God has. And so you got to obey. You have to. Who are you to disobey God? Jonah tried and he didn't make it, right? So, yeah, this came out quite a bit too. And that is a psychological stress that we have to deal with. Now, the other interesting thing John DeLynn did, I thought was kind of cool, is he is actually in touch with and capable of bringing in legitimate professional psychological services, if that's the route you need to go, if that's what you need to do. We're not going to be able to offer you actual valid psychology.
We're not?
Well, he is, but I won't. I can make you
yeah.
laugh at my antics, but you've got much more brains than I ever will. But is it psychology brains, Charlie? See, he's the scriptorian, so that's the thing. But we have access to stuff like that if that's what you need. So that's nice to know. And then we have access to a way to read the scripture and the history that, to our advantage. And I'm going to say it this way, and you can agree with me or disagree with me, correct me if I'm wrong, but to our advantage, we now have the church history essays to give us a not a focus, but a perspective, so that we can actually see, there's more to this history than we thought. And then we can re-examine it and re-explore it. But that can have a psychological effect on you. It still does to me somewhat right now. That's one reason why I appreciate Charley being on my show to work through this, because his book is, your book was published before the essays, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But you were addressing every one of those topics.
Yeah. And it was during a time when the church was getting hit by people writing in asking about these topics because they were being discussed on the internet. The real history was being presented. I had a guy from Africa that came to South Africa, came to visit me at BYU, and said that he was, part of his visit there was to visit with, I think it was Richard Turley at the time, to
church historian.
Yeah. To get answers to his questions about this. And he was told, the church, we're working on this right now as fast as we can to get these answers out. We have the answers and you'll get them soon and you'll be satisfied.
And now they've kind of
shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah, they've seen their answers aren't good enough. So now they kind of contend what we need to do is just give answers. That way we can say, well, we've answered that.
Yeah.
Well, that's being pretty far reduced, wouldn't you think? In importance and significance, if now all you have to do is, well, we've just got to give some answers. That's not all that amazing for a church to do.
Yeah. You'd think that would do the trick.
None of those essays have ever made converts that I know of. Have you ever heard of anyone joining because of the essays? Coming out and being finally transparent and open to reality and truth. Now we are the church telling the truth and all. Come and join us in this quest. I haven't heard of any.
Yeah, it was surprising at Thrive. In fact, how many, as we'd go around a table and share stories, what was it that broke our shelf? So many of them raised the essays or brought the essays. It was surprising. Like you say, some of them would stumble over it was a single thing or two, but a lot of them was just reading the essays.
Yeah.
All the things that they had been teaching as a missionary that were anti-Mormon, that they were defending it.
Yeah.
People who would say, Joseph Smith practiced polygamy. Oh no, that's just anti-Mormon propaganda. And then all of a sudden they read on the church website, this is all true. This is how it happened. And so that just shook them to the core.
They did bring that up quite a bit, didn't they? Yeah, the church essays was a pretty big focus this time.
Yeah.
I suspect that'll probably continue into several of the other thrives.
Mm-hmm.
I hope the church doesn't get wind of this, because I don't want them to get rid of those essays, although we've got pretty much sites that can present them from now on.
They're captured.
Just remember, we do not hide anything. We have full integrity. Yeah, sure. And that was said in 2019. I've got a video on 2019, Charlie. Still saying that. So. Yeah. Okay, you guys, we've pretty much covered what we wanted to on Thrive. Just to let you know, we had a ball.
It's a great experience. If you have a chance to attend one, I encourage you to do it.
Yeah, especially if he's there. He makes it a lot more enjoyable and fun. So come on out to Thrive with Charlie and the BYP and everyone else. Bill Rill usually attends them, or if the one at I think the ones they attend most would be the St. George, because Bill's down close to here. So, so that makes sense. But yeah, there's so many wonderful, good people, both involved in the program as well as just out in the audience. So many of them came from out of state. Certainly the majority came from out of town, and traveled for some of them, in some case an hour, some for several hours. Well worth the time.
The amount of volunteer work behind the scenes was just incredible. And that's what made this so great, is Wayne Hepworth and his team down here in St. George, and
phenomenal work.
It was the Clinton. From Salt Lake.
Clintons. Came all the way from Salt Lake, just helped set up tables and stuff. And there were a lot of tables. And these are the big 8-foot tall round tables. I mean, they're the ones that when you set them out, you can put 10 people around them. They're big tables. And there were 50 of them easy set up in that room. 10 chairs apiece. Ooh, that's 500. So probably not that many, but close. There was a lot of tables and chairs, a lot of people, a lot of information, a lot of pleasures, a lot of tears, a lot of laughter, a lot of information. Definitely something I'm going to try to attend to regularly without question. I'm going to advise you guys. I would so love to meet all of you guys in this chat through the years, in the up and coming years. Try to get to Thrive, and we'll go out and eat together and talk. That would just be so cotton picking cool. You seen any real good comments? Who else is here? Chris Murphy. Hey, thanks. Patty Cake. Good to see you too. Yeah. Dan Vogel's still hanging out. Good. Patty Cake here. Tim Rathbone. Oh, Newton Lemos. Good to see him. Oh, Nikki McBee. Welcome. Gene Jordan. Good. Yeah, you guys are having a good time. Okay, well, we're going to call it good for the night. If you have any questions or comments, it's too late. We're closing out. Oh. That's not quite the way to treat the audience. We're kind of tired from all the traveling. We apologize, but we wanted to get on here and say, truly, what a fantastic thing we've been to, and we loved it enough. We're definitely going to go back. So, oh, look. You've been the backyard professor all night long. Carrie Shirt's the backyard professor.
We're in the wrong place.
Congratulations, man. You have been demoted successfully. All right, you guys. Thanks for everything. Thanks for all your support and love. Appreciate you attending tonight, watching us. We will be back just shortly, not very long. We are planning our next series of discussions on Charley's fabulous book. We're starting to, the first few chapters are more or less introductory, even though it's a full agenda of very significant information from the opening start. We're going to start getting into the real good, deep stuff. That's quite fun. Didn't we decide we wanted to do kind of an overview on the restoration, but you want to do a little bit deeper dive, didn't
Well,
you?
just chapter by chapter is fine.
Yeah. Instead of, he's got a few chapters on the restoration.
Yeah, I didn't want to lump them all together because then you start to just generalize again, and it's kind of the goodies are in the details sometimes.
Yeah, they really are.
Yeah.
I'm with him. So each time we get on, we will be doing some deep diving. The Sunday school you always wanted to have, and the teacher we finally got to give us that. All right, you guys, we're gonna sign off. Love y'all. We gotta go.
Y'all.
Yep. Be good, do well, have fun, be safe, and all that jazz. We are gone, Johnson, only to return shortly.